Welcome everyone, this is Statsational coming to you with the first of several updates on this year's March Madness tournament. Every year, once the brackets are released, I go through 5 key factors to eliminate some of the contenders. I like this method of working backwards combined with some other strategies to come up with the winning brackets. I will go over how you should be playing your specific bracket pool in a future video, so subscribe below to get it when it's released. Let's look at the 5 categories I use to eliminate teams. The first thing I want to look at is the preseason AP rankings, and this comes from Nate Silver's article in the New York Times back in 2011. I'll put a link for that in the video below in the description. But what Nate Silver was talking about here was teams that were ranked or unranked in the preseason who are now currently in the top 10 coming into the tournament in AP. Since 1985, there have been 54 teams that started the season unranked and finished the season going into the NCAA Tournament ranked in the top 10. Of those 54 teams, none of them have reached a Final Four. Last year's team was Baylor, a 3 seed. They lost in the third round to South Carolina. This is a method and a strategy that has worked now 54 times of eliminating teams that will not make the Final Four. This year, Virginia, the number 1 seed overall, qualifies. They were unranked coming into the season. They're currently ranked number 1. So we're going to toss Virginia out based on these criteria. Also, the 3rd team the 3 seed in the West, Michigan. Michigan also just missed being ranked in the AP Top 25. They now currently sit 7th. So Michigan will also be eliminated based on that criteria. The second thing we look at is three-point shooting. The three-point shot undoubtedly has become one of the most important aspects of both the NBA and college basketball now. So since 2007, only 5 teams shooting under 33% from 3 have made the Elite 8. This year, the teams coming into the tournament shooting sub 33% from the 3 are 15 seed Lipscomb, 7 seed Texas A&M, 9th seed Alabama, the 11th seed Syracuse, and 10th seed Texas. The third criteria, points per game. Now, since the college basketball rules have changed on the shot clock, they went from 35 seconds down to a 30-second shot clock. The points per game have increased. And if you read the article that I have attached, we look at how much of an increase that actually was. It turns out it's about 6.6%. Now, prior to this, we were looking at a score, points per game of about 73. We want the teams to be over 73 points per game. We'll increase that up now to about 77.5. So we're looking at a 77.5 point per game total, and we want to eliminate all teams that are falling underneath that 77.5 point total. If we look at the teams that qualify for this year, again, we see Virginia under the 77.5, the 2 seed in the South, Cincinnati, the 3 seed in the East, Texas Tech. Once again, Michigan falls down on this list as the 3 seed in the West, and then the 3 seed in the South, Tennessee, also gets eliminated. Coaches' success is an interesting one. We look at snakebit coaches. This comes from a website that no longer exists called Bracket Science. And one of the interesting things back when this site was up and running was looking at teams that underperform in the tournament, specifically the top seeded teams from 1 to 6. We'll look at the teams seeded 1 through 6 to see which coaches generally underperform. And the coaches that underperform, he had titled as snake-bitten coaches. Snake-bitten coaches have more than 5 trips to the tournament and have never reached an Elite 8. 2 teams fall under that this year. The 2 seed in the South, Cincinnati. The 2 seed in the East, Purdue. The last category, scoring margin. One of the great indicators of how you will perform in the tournament is simply scoring margin. This actually works in the NFL as well. One of the one of the biggest correlations to success in the postseason is your scoring margin during the regular season, and it works here in college basketball as well. The teams with the highest scoring margin tend to perform the best come tournament time. So we look at the teams who score under 10 points per game or under a scoring margin of 10 points per game. Those teams, there have been 153 of those teams who had a 1 through a 4 seed. 2 of them have won a title. Of the 153, 2 have won a title, and only 11 have made it to the Final Four. So we want to eliminate all teams who are under a 10 point per game scoring margin as a 1 through a 4 seed. This year, the 1 seed in the West, Xavier. The 2 seed out West, North Carolina. The 3 seed in the South, Tennessee. And the 4 seed in the South, Arizona. So to summarize, we have 1 seeds that we're eliminating, Virginia and Xavier. The 2 seeds, Cincinnati, Purdue, North Carolina. The 3 seeds, Texas Tech, Michigan, and Tennessee. And 4 seed, Arizona. We actually have 3 4 seeds still alive using this method. In a future video, I'm going to go over, looking a little bit closer, is how we're going to start to try to pick a champion. Again, how you should be going about picking your pool for the maximize the success that you could potentially have. And we'll do another one on potential Cinderella teams. But for now, be real careful when choosing any of the teams on this list, as their probability of advancing to the Final Four or even winning a national championship are slim. Good luck with your pools. Subscribe below for more videos on the NCAA Tournament, as well as videos on daily fantasy sports, yearly fantasy sports, and more sports handicapping knowledge.